Abigail Washburn is a Nashville folkie who often performs in China. Dave Liang records electronic music as the Shanghai Restoration Project in New York. Together they mark the one-year anniversary of the earthquake in Sichuan with the album Afterquake. It was recorded in China and features children singing traditional songs. They talked to Ben Sisario about several tracks, including Song for Mama.
Abigail Washburn, Dave Liang of Shanghai Restoration Project. You guys got together to do Afterquake. Tell us about this project.
Well, the idea for Afterquake came after I did a residency at Sichuan University last November and December. I was teaching a traditional American folk music to students in the Chinese singing style major at the art school at Sichuan University. And at night, I ended up hanging out at this sort of literary club. And a friend of mine, Peter Goff from the Sichuan Quake Relief, said, "You know, Abby, you should really come with me to the relocation schools. I work for an organization called Sichuan Quake Relief, and we bring all kinds of necessary items to people in need, resources that they need now. And something we think they need now is education and entertainment. And so if you would come with us and share your voice and your songs, we'd love to take you out to the schools." So I went to 6 different schools over a period of days. After the shows, the kids would come up to me and want to sing songs back to me. And lots of times they'd end up telling me stories, and I'd just sit there for hours and hours and hours with the kids. And I was just really moved by it. A lot of times the girls would end up crying and talking about how they have lost hope in the world and don't trust the world. I mean, you can imagine that PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, is huge there.
These are kids who've lost family members and...
Absolutely, yeah. They're afraid. They're afraid of life. I did all I could to encourage them in that moment, but I just wanted to figure out how to do more. And I went back to the States, and after a few months, I thought of Dave and the idea of going back and making music with the kids, music that we could bring back to the States and sell, and to send back profits to the kids and the schools, and also to raise awareness about the situation there. I thought Dave was the perfect person because I come from a folk background, and we all know that folk music doesn't sell big. It doesn't sell big.
That's why you decided to go after Chinese traditional music. That's going to be the next big thing. So.
I did bring that aesthetic, but Dave brought the part that made it into something that I was hoping would be accessible to most people and would bring a higher level of awareness and hopefully a wide spread of possible resources to the area.
So the basic idea is your folk music, Dave, your electronic music, and traditional songs from the kids' backgrounds, right?
Yeah.
How did that work? I mean, putting these things together sounds like 3 pretty different ingredients here.
Well, we made sure everything was oriented around the field recordings themselves. So when we got to Sichuan and we went to the relocation school where these kids had been moved to post-earthquake, we sat down with a group of them and we said, think of songs that your parents used to sing to you as a kid and any poems that you guys have written. And then we also went around and recorded different ambient sounds, whether it was the sounds of the kids playing ping pong or just shouting in the playground. We even went to their parents' home and recorded the sounds of reconstruction. So after we had this rich set of field recordings, then you had both the folk elements, which was the storytelling, and then you had the ingredients to make a good electronic record.
送给我的妈妈，妈妈妈妈，孩儿思念你，妈妈妈妈，孩儿思念你。
Tell us about the Song for Mama. I think that uses some of that, right?
Yeah, so Song for Mama, that was a piece when we were at the relocation school. There's this boy, Chen Hongling, who's, I guess, maybe 14 or 15 years old. And we asked him to sing a song that he had learned as a kid. And the song that he chose appropriately was a song to remember his mother, whom he had been separated from. And it's called Song for Mama. It's a traditional Tibetan song, and it was translated into Mandarin. So he sang this a cappella, and we basically just had the recorder up to his mouth, and he sang the whole song and just gave a really, really emotional performance.
It was so soulful and so moving.
Really incredible. And just, we were just in a classroom at the time, and we were so moved by it that we decided we wanted to go to Wenchuan, where he had grown up and where his school originally had been located. Now, that area has been completely devastated by the earthquake, and still 1 year after the tragic event, you still see immense amount of destruction. So we went to visit his family, and we brought, I guess, his mother a picture of him that we had taken, in addition to the music itself. There was this very poignant scene where Abby opens up the laptop and plays the MP3 of her son singing, and it just really brings her to tears. And I guess the way Abby describes it is, you felt like a bridge between the mom and the son.
My whole body felt hot, like I was in between something. I was like a channel. It was a fascinating feeling.
So this is a song that uses the sound of construction as the beat, right?
So what we did is, his mom and I guess his entire family at the time was rebuilding their home.
It was one of those things you just happen upon. I mean, we thought that using reconstruction sounds for a beat on something would be great, but we knew we wanted to tell the story of this son missing his mother. And we arrive at the mother's house. She lives so far away from the son, she doesn't see him. They've been separated after this traumatic experience. And, to arrive and see that she's actually rebuilding her house at that moment with her own hands, she and her husband, it became so clear that building the new home was going to be the foundation beat for the song.
And cycling the beat is actually pretty appropriate for the story because there actually is a ritual. There's a repetitive nature of how they rebuild. They take the rubble from the destruction. So their houses had collapsed. They take the rubble
from the old home.
They put it through a rubble breaker, and I guess they grind it through a sieve, and it turns into, I guess, stones. And then the stones they use to make cement. So they're mixing the cement, and then they use that to do the bricklaying.
Mm-hmm. Remixing, you might say.
Yeah. They're remixing their own home, effectively.
Physical remix.
Yeah.